Today we're going to be talking about the things you need to do before you list your short-term rental property for sale. A lot of people are thinking about selling them and they don't have the answers when I ask them. So let's get started. Okay, if you're like me and you're an investor, you're buying short-term rental properties, you want to invest in them, there's a few things that I'm going to want to know immediately. And if you're thinking about selling your short-term rental property, there's a few things you need to know before you even say, hey, I'm going to sell it. Ready? Okay, this is super simple. Ready? You have your finances in order. That's number one. Like, you need to know what your income statement looks like. You need to know what your P&L looks like. You need to know what your numbers are, how much money you made, how much money you spent. You need to know what the rents were for the year, broken out by month. If you've had it for multiple years, show that, right? The new owners are gonna be really interested in what the rents are actually on the house, right? That's the first thing I'm gonna ask as a short-term rental investor buyer. If I'm buying your property, that's the first thing I ask. I see people all day long throw up these properties on Facebook and say, I got a property for sale. And the first thing I ask is, well, how much did it make? And they say, oh, well, it might make this much money. Well, that doesn't tell me anything. I want to know what it already made. If it didn't already make money, it's not a short-term rental property for sale. It's just a property for sale, right? So if you have one that's actually making money, you've already rented it, great. I want to know what it made. So that's the first thing I want you to do, right? Before you list your property, I want you to get the numbers together. Make a nice profit and loss, income and expense report. Super simple. You don't need to list every single thing in there, but anything that someone else is going to need to put it in there to rent, to rent it out themselves. And if you're managing it for yourselves, well, guess what? They're going to be putting in a 20%, the new buyers are going to be putting in a 20% management fee, or they should be calculating that in case something happens and they can't manage it. So that's the first thing you want to do. The second thing you want to do, really, I need you to find out if it's allowed. I need you to pull the deed restrictions, call any title company or any title attorney in the country. They will pull the deed restrictions for you. Your realtor should do this for you as well. I want the deed restrictions available. If there's a permit required, you need to know that. You need to know what the local ordinances are, local laws. You need to have that ready to go, just like that, right? I mean, that should be in your ad. Permitted, no deed restrictions or deed restrictions allowed, no HOA allows, whatever it is in your listing, okay? Don't waste my time, seriously. So know your numbers, know your income, your expenses. Is it profitable, is it not? Deed restrictions, permits if required. That's easy to do. Then number three, before you list it, what is your plan to transfer the reservations? Are you going to give me your Airbnb account? Are you in Guestly? Do you have everything going through Guestly and you have everything in generic email addresses and you can just hand it over? Am I buying the business from you? Or am I just buying a property and there's no reservations and I have to make all that up, right? So that's the really thing I'm gonna wanna know, so figure that out beforehand. Honestly, if you're thinking about selling a property, I would get a manager. I would get a manager in there, I'd get your income up. Most managers are gonna get your income up. Let them do that. And then the manager can be in there and hold all those listings, or not listings, sorry, I'm in realtor mode. Hold all of those reservations over the period of when the transfer of ownership is, right? If you're selling it and managing it yourself, and there's a point where you close on the property and all of a sudden those reservations are really the property of the new owner. And how are you gonna transfer those at that time? I do not suggest that you take it off the Airbnb market or the STR marketplaces to sell the property. I don't think that's the right thing to do. Now there's a caveat to that I'll talk to in a little bit. Anyway, maybe put this with a manager for a few months. Let them take over all the listings, all the reservations, sorry, realtor brain. All the reservations, let them manage it, get the income up, and then after the property sells, the new owner can take over. And if they would like to manage it themselves, they can. But like give the manager and a manager an opportunity to really crush it for you. That makes your property way more valuable. Okay, and if you're a guy like me getting financing, you may be required to have professional management in place. So even though I manage property for other people, I do not manage my own STR properties. They're not where I live. It's impossible. So I put managers in place. So the one thing I really want to stress here is get all that stuff organized, because what you'll find is if you're not making enough money and you don't have a manager in place, and all these things are stacked up against you, it may not be really an STR property, right? Let's say you have a $2 million property, but you're only bringing in $30,000 in gross revenue. Well, that's not worth it. That's not gonna be a good STR property, right? So finding out some of those things in advance may help you figure out how to market the property. And honestly, it'd save you a lot of time from guys like me asking you a lot of questions about, is it this, is it this, is it this? I mean, I see every day people saying $800,000 property makes $39,000 a year in revenue. That's not enough to cover the cost. So that's not really a good investment, right? So if you really want to market your property as an STR or a vacation rental home that is profitable, you need to understand if it's profitable. And don't lie about it. I mean, this information doesn't come out in the wash, right? Your property may be worth a lot of money, not as an STR. So you just need to think about that. So anyway, I know it's kind of a dirty, messy video, but those are some of the things you need to think about when you're listing your property as a short-term rental property. Anyway, hope you have a great day.